Imagine this. You are talking to a potential business partner from Japan. You've mastered the grammar, your vocabulary is top tier, and you even got the accent right. Basically, here you're flexing that 4.0 GPA. You tell a joke to lighten the mood. You're expecting a laugh, but instead, you are met with a cold, deafening silence. You feel the cringe crawling up your spine, wondering where you went wrong. What you didn't realize is that while you were speaking the same language, you were living in two completely different worlds of etiquette. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the linguistic trap, where knowing the words isn't enough to bridge the cultural gap. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to my lecturer and my fellow peers. I am Muhammad Shamiazi from the Academy of Language Studies, UITM Shahlam. As someone currently pursuing a degree in intercultural communication, I realized that most of the time people are actually cooked before they even start talking. So for my insights today are grounded in that cultural iceberg theory by Edward T. Hall, and a mini research I have conducted among our friends and students here in UITM. So today, I want to pull back the curtain on why speaking English is actually the most easiest part of communication. So my speech today will actually focus on two main points: the hidden layers of deep culture that dictates our behavior, and how developing cultural intelligence, which is CQ, can save you from a social disaster. So here, let me first focus on the severity of deep cultural effects. Without further ado, allow me to begin with the first main point, which is the invisible weight of deep culture and its effects on our interactions, which you can refer to this picture. Most of us treat culture like a holiday. We see like the food, clothes, and the festivals. But according to Edward T. Hall's iceberg model, that's only 10% of what culture actually is. The other 90%, it's under the water. Is the invisible deep culture, our concepts of time, our attitudes toward authority, and our unspoken rules of personal space. The effect of ignoring this is actually quite massive. When you ignore deep culture, you're not just being different, you're often being perceived as rude, arrogant, or incompetent. For example, in a high context culture like Malaysia or Japan, what you don't say is more important than what you do say. If you apply a direct Western communication style in a low context setting here, the result is a total breakdown of trust. This isn't just a theory, it's a reality that leads to lost contracts, failed diplomatic relations, and broken friendships. So, since we know that being book smart in English isn't enough to stop the ship from hitting the iceberg, let's see what can actually be done to fix this. So, let's focus on the next point here, which is addressing the gap in intercultural communication, which actually requires us to more towards the not just a polite smile. It requires something called cultural intelligence, or CQ. Unlike IQ, which is mostly static, CQ is a set of skills you can actually train. According to the Cultural Intelligence Center, CQ is broken down into four parts, which is drive, knowledge, strategy, and action. It's not about memorizing every single tradition in the world. That's impossible, almost impossible, and honestly quite boring. It's about having the drive to be curious and the action to adapt your behavior. Based on my observations at the Academy of Language Studies, students who actively engage in intercultural strategy, meaning they stop and think before they judge your behavior, are 50% more likely to succeed in international group projects. By shifting our focus from learning a language to learning a person, we can navigate the deep waters of the iceberg without sinking. So, the conclusion here, ladies and gentlemen, the linguistic trap is nothing to be scoffed at. Building on this point, it is clear that the effects of deep culture are the make or break factors in our globalized world. To survive and thrive, we must look beyond the surface of language. We need to stop assuming that everyone thinks the way we do just because they use the same subject-verb agreement as we do. And so here is time for us to enforce a mindset of cultural curiosity, adopt the practices of CQ, and practice empathy of overego. By working together to understand what's under the water, we can finally bridge the gaps that words alone cannot. I am Muhammad Shahmiazik, and if you still think your Muet Band 5 is enough to conquer the world, well, yeah, good luck with that. So, I believe that's all from me. Thank you for listening. Bye.